Daf Kuf Bed Amud Aleph by the Mishnah on the bottom. Hamaskir Bayit Havil Mishnah. Someone rents his house to his friend for a year. And then then they added a month to the year. A second Nadar became a leap year. That extra month goes to the tenant, he doesn't have to pay extra. His he rents it 1 month at a time. And then the year got added. They added a month. And then the landlord gets that extra month because they're doing a month at a time. He pros the story and Sipor was renting a bathhouse from his friend. Interesting. The contract was 12 gold coins a year, 1 gold coin per month. So it has both lashonot, the yearly rate and the monthly rate. When they asked when they were posek, they split it. So you only pay 50%. Now the Gemara says, "Ma'aseh store." What do you mean? Why did you bring a story down that proved that everything against everything we said? So Gemara says, explain it right again. Mishnah. Ve'ina marlov for the landlord to the tenant. B'shnei masar v'zehuvin l'shana medinar zahav l'chodesh. I'm renting it to you for 12 and 1 a day. How could they split it? U'maseh nam v'tzipur be'echad shezacham l'chasam. V'lo b'shnei masar v'chom l'shana v'zdinar v'zacham v'zacham. That's a story that fits the part that was missing in the Mishnah. Marav. If I was there when that case happened, I would have given the entire month to the landlord. So my Kamashman, why? Is he teaching you that if you say two contradictory statements, that the second statement goes through? How does it know? We know the Rav holds of that. If a seller told the guy, I'm selling it to you for an istira, 100 ma'ot. Now, an istira is 96 ma'ot. So he says two prices, an istira, quote unquote, 96, and he says 100. Me'abba, he has to give 100. Me'abba istira, then if let's say he says 100 ma'ot and istira only gives the 96. So we see that if you say two different expressions, you go according to the second one. So why would Rav need to say that you'd have to pay the extra month because it's the second lashon? Versus no, you only learn that from that case of the istira. The reason why over there you only go to the one because Perushu Kamithara, she was explaining himself. That meaning he was saying 100 ma'ot in istira, which means around 100 ma'ot or 100 bad ma'ot. Kamashman over here that no, Rav still holds that no matter what you say, the second lashon counts. Ushmu says no. The Mishnah is talking about a case where the landlord came to Bedin in the middle of that 13 month. So middle of Adar Bet, he says either pay for the month or kish. That's when he said you split it. But if it came before the extra month started, the landlord gets paid fully. Baba Sofal comes after the end, the tenant keeps it because he has the money. So now Shmuel Lomrin and the Shmuel not hold like Rav that the second way you say something counts, like Rab said. They both said, if a guy says, I'm selling you a core of grain for 30 silaim, right? So a core of grain for 30 silaim is a core is 30 sa'ah. So seemingly it was 30 silaim, 1 per sa'ah. He can back out even the last sa'ah. If he says, however, because if it's 30 for 30 as one shot until he gets over everything, the guy's not going in. That's why he can back out. But if the guy says, I'm selling you a core of 30 for 30 sa'im, 1 for each, the guy can acquire 1 at a time. And he can't back out anymore after each one. So we see over here that it goes by the second lashon seemingly. The Gemara said, no, over there, it's referring to the reason why the guy acquires it in the second case because he's acquiring each one as they said. I'll give you 30 for 30, 1 per. So every one he hands over, he's acquiring it like he said. So here as well, once he according to Shmuel, when he says that he stayed already half the month, because he stayed for half the month, he's able to keep it. Rahman says, real estate stays in possession of the owner, therefore the entire month should go to the landlord. So the Gemara says, is he also saying that the last lashon goes to the accounts? Rab just said that. So he holds no. Even if the second one, no matter which way you would have said Lashon, and mentioned the yearly one second, which we would have said it goes to the tenant. Again, he would hold that no, since the landlord owns the property, he gets paid. If the tenant had already paid you the rent for the year, the rent loan said I never got it. Who has to prove it? So now what is he saying? If it was during that year that he's talking about, right? We already have a halacha. If it was after the time he said he paid it, so another halacha about that. It's not even Mishnah. The father died during the first 30 days of the kid, his firstborn son got born. But if that we assume that he was not redeemed with Pidyon Ben. Unless he brings proof that he was. If he died after 30 days, we assume that the kid was already redeemed after he turned 30 days, like normal. Like Pidyon Ben. Until they bring proof that he was not redeemed. So we see that if the tenant claims he paid before it was due, you have to prove it. Who paid before you're due? But if it was after, you have to prove that he didn't pay. So the Gemara says, no, lo tzricha. This case is different. We're talking about the last day. Does the person pay on the rent the day of the rent or not? They paid earlier or later. A hired worker claimed his wages on time. He can swear that he didn't pay and he takes his money. So we see that regarding a hired worker, he has to swear to get paid. Because the employer is busy working and didn't pay him. But over here, a tenant believed to say on the day that his lease is expiring that he paid already and he can use the shavua as well. Someone rents his house to someone else for 10 years. And he wrote a star. And after some time, he came and there's no date. And he said, you already used 5 years? Mehemen is believed. And that's the case. If you lend someone $100 with the star, and the guy said, I already paid you half. That means he's believed also. What does that mean? How can you reduce the value of it in a way? 10 years. Oh, you stayed 5 years already. So you said sending the money. $100. I already paid you back 50. Actually, you can't come here. By the loan, the document's there to collect, and therefore you go by document. Therefore, if you already paid it back, he should have recorded that in the document, write a receipt. Get a receipt. But write a lease. Landlord told the tenant, the reason I wrote a document, so you don't make a hazakah, right? You don't get like a squatter rights. You stay in my house for 3 years, you can claim it's yours. That's why I have a document. But the document's not there for the actual terms of the years. We're keeping that ourselves, and I told you you said half. A person can borrow his friend's utensil forever, as long as he guarantees he's keeping it in a good quality. Amar Rav Mari Berad the Bat Shmuel. Rav Mari, the son of Shmuel's daughter, said, "V'hud the kamen is that's only he made a kinyan." Amar Rav Mari Berad Rav Ashi umehader le'atate. If it broke, he has to return the handle to the owner. Amar Rav Ayman the Amar the Chaver, someone told his friend, right? He has to return the handle if it broke because it's not yours to keep forever physically. You could use it, but if it breaks, you have to return it to the owner. Said, lend me a shovel to dig up my garden. And he can dig up that garden with that shovel and nothing else. He said, let me a shovel to dig up a garden. He can dig up any garden he wants. He says, lend me a shovel to dig up gardens. He can dig up as many gardens as he has. In all cases, he has to return it if it breaks. Someone tells his friend, Oshlan hay garguta. Lend me this well to irrigate my fields. And the well collapsed. He doesn't rebuild the well. Garguta, if he said, lend me a well for my fields, and then the well collapsed. Banila, he has to rebuild it because it's lent to him until he finishes irrigating it. Garguta, if he said, lend me a place on your land to dig a well. He can dig up many wells to make sure until he finds a good well. And that only applies if he acquired the field with permission. I'm scared by the Hadra Benefal. Someone rented a house is renting and it collapsed. Hayav Lamul buy it, he has to provide the tenant with a different house for rent. Hayav Katan, if the house was small, Leasin Gadol, don't make a big house if he doesn't want it. Gadol, if the house is big, Leasin Katan, don't make a small house. Ehad, if the house had one room, Leasin Shnaim, don't make it two rooms. Shnaim, if the original house was two rooms, Leasin Echad, don't give him one room house. Don't decrease windows, don't add windows, unless they both agree. All right, so you're replacing the house, make sure the guy is happy with it. That's the case in the Mishnah. If the guy said, I'm renting you this house, then if the house collapsed, I'm sorry, what am I supposed to do? If he said, I'm renting you any house, why can't he replace the single room house with a two-room house? Katan, if it was small, why can't he give him a big one? So like says, the guy told the tenant, the house I'm renting you, this is the size. Therefore, because he didn't agree instead to the actual house, but rather to the general dimensions, he has to replace the dimensions. The guy told the tenant, I'm renting you a house that looks just like this. So since it wasn't a specific house, he has to replace it, but it has to replace similar dimensions. So what's the chidush? Again, what's the chidush? Let's see. The house was next to a river. You might think. What do you mean like this? The is referring to the fact that it was near a river, but not necessarily the dimensions. No, it goes according to dimensions as well. Don't add, don't subtract from the size that you promised.